Hello, my name is Michelle and today I'm going to talk to you about how to configure GP Connect to share both your patient records and your appointments within the TPP system. It's important to note that you have the option to share as many or as few appointments as you want to, and you have the flexibility to change that number at any point. First, we need to enable the functionality for record sharing. As of the end of April 2020, TPP have centrally enabled HTML record sharing nationally in every TPP GP practice in England in order to support the COVID-19 response and in line with the COPI notice. If you do want to check your configuration, you can do so by going to Setup, Users and Policy and Organisation Preferences and following the instructions on screen. The bottom half of the slide tells you that you will need to configure your clinical tree if you wish to be able to use GP Connect to view patient records across the primary care network or integrated care services. If you want to be able to use that within your practice, you need to configure your clinical tree to do so. In the normal way of clinical tree configuration, retrieve a patient and right-click on the clinical tree to customize the tree. In the Amend Tree Configuration dialog, click the Third-Party Patient Record node under Record Management and double-click on it to add, and then click OK. It's worth noting that this step is not compulsory, but if you wish to use GP Connect within the GP practice, you will need to add this option to your clinical tree. Moving on to appointments. In order to configure your appointments to share with the CCAS and wider NHS 111, you need to first of all create a new worklist slot. So to create a new slot, go to Setup, Appointments, Slot Type and New, and give that new slot a name. So for example, the CCAS COVID. Select Bookable and Bookable through Remote Booking alongside Type, and deselect Enable SMS Reminders, just to make sure that none of your patients are accidentally set an SMS to remind them of an appointment time. Click on the Telephone Appointment, Telephone Review and Telephone Screening options, which is your fail-safe, just in case patients are ever given a timed appointment slot, they will at least expect a telephone appointment rather than a face-to-face. Patients under the prioritisation list from CCAS are not being given timed appointment slots, but this is just in case anyone is accidentally told the wrong information. Once we can then create a new rota template. So to do this, select the new rota template from Setup, Appointments, Rota Template and New, and alongside the type box, select New, and in the Create Rota dialog box, enter a description and the name field. Give your rota a name which is relevant and identifiable. Enter the start time. Your end time will automatically be entered once your slot durations are added. Consider changing the background colour to make your rota easily identifiable to your staff, and enter in your slot duration. Now in this example, the clinic runs from 8 until 6 with a slot duration of 30 minutes, which means that you would have 20 spaces on your prioritisation list. Remembering that this is a prioritisation list and not a list of appointments, these are spaces on a list and not 30-minute appointment times. Once you click Add under the slot duration, you'll get your slot dialog. So select the type of COVID-19, put the duration of your slots and the quantity that you want to calculate your end time of the clinic. Noting that if you're configured to run rotas in the morning and the afternoon, you may have to create two different templates to suit your configuration locally. Next, we need to apply the template. So go to Setup, Appointments, Rota Planner. Apply a rota template and enter the dates in the Apply From and To boxes and click OK. Now we need to add GP Connect and add in the organisations we want to share our appointments with. So go to Setup on the top menu bar, Users and Policy and Org Preferences. Select Appointments and then GP Connect Provider and select Specify Bookable Slot Types, search for the slot that you've just created. Select New under the Rota Booking Rules and select the rota that you've just created, and then select the button alongside Only allow organisations with a specific rule to book into this rota type. Select New under the Organisation and Organisation Type Specific Rules, select the rota you've just created and select New under the Organisations, and you will then see the view on screen. Search for RYEA3 and select the Trust HQ with the H icon as shown on screen. This is the ODS code for the National Clinical COVID Assessment Service, and at the very least your prioritisation list should be shared with this organisation. You may be moving towards the SOP guidance where we recommend that you run one single prioritisation list, and so you may also add in all of the other NHS 111 providers into this list and this rota booking rule. Details of all of the NHS 111 providers and how to find them within the System 1 system can be found on the GP Connect website. Once you're happy that you've added all of the organisations into this rota booking rule, then click on OK. Select OK for the rota booking rule and select New under the slot types. Select the slot type that you've just created from the drop-down list and select the button next to Only allow organisations with a specific rule to book into this slot type. Click on OK. Select New under the Organisation and Organisation type and select the slot type that you've just created and move it into the right-hand box using the arrows in the middle. Select New under the Organisations and search for the Trust HQ and select OK. You may also at this point want to add in all of the NHS 111 providers, and this is the place to do that. So add those organisations as well as the National CCAS. Click on OK when you've added all of the organisations. And then the final thing to do is amend your staff details. So any staff member who is going to host one of these appointment rotas needs to have a GP Connect role set within their Amend Staff Details and Local Settings tabs. If you're using a dummy clinician to run this rota, then they should also be given a GP Connect role. Any of the roles from the drop-down list are perfectly acceptable for a dummy clinician, and for your actual clinicians they should be mapped closely to their clinical role.